essentially he's the first guy who's been in that role, performance director. Like before, you've probably heard Eddie O'Sullivan talking about going to a group of kind of blazers and trying to explain his coaching decisions to guys who didn't really understand what was going on. So I think the creation of that role was really positive for Irish rugby, because it got someone in who had head coaching experience, who was involved as a kind of performance director in Australia as well, who had worked right across the game and was still very much in touch with modern trends. On top of that, he had an existing relationship with Joe Schmidt from the Blues. And he's done a lot of Joe's dirty work, essentially, in terms of negotiating, being a pretty hard negotiator, probably making quite a few enemies along the way, and certainly he's rubbed some people up the wrong way and frustrated other elements of the game. But if you look at the success of Irish rugby and where the system is now, compared to even when he came in, you'd have to say he's been a major success. Even unpopular moves like moving players generally have worked out really well. He likes talking about John Cooney and the success they've had up in Ulster with him, because that Ruan Pienaar decision was so controversial. But generally those things have worked out really well for him. I would say there's also elements of Australian rugby who would not like to see him return, because his era there didn't end too well, and that's happened in a couple of places with him. But for the job he's required to do in Ireland, I think he's the perfect guy. He's extremely hard-nosed. He doesn't have any problem with doing that dirty work, with frustrating people. He's a very hard negotiator, as I said, as well. And I can see why someone like Brendan Cannon would come out and go, why don't we have this guy in charge of Australian rugby at a time when it's in a real mess, and the system, the overall system is really struggling, and the Wallabies' form or lack of is really a product of that. So yeah, Nucifora's done a really good job here, while maybe not being the most popular guy.
Yeah, would you go along with that, Andy? Not the most popular guy. Yeah, cheeky smirk on Andy's face here.
Well, no, I think his impact is overrated. I think it's to be acknowledged. Okay, like the moves, the likes of Cooney going up to Connacht, an Irish player who was not being utilised. He was put in ahead of Ruan. Ruan Pienaar wasn't recontracted, and ultimately, it's been a masterstroke. Really, you got an Irish and Indigenous player developed through our system, now actively contributing and hopefully going to contribute to the run up to a World Cup. So I think that is absolutely to be recognised as a brilliant move. But he kind of inherited a Goldilocks situation in professional rugby. He didn't centralise contracts. That was on 95. And the reason rugby is running so smoothly is because 20 years ago there was a masterstroke not to make Cork Con, Young Munster, Dungannon, Ballymena professional outfits like was done in the Premiership in England. And we couldn't sustain that, and with 4 provinces we had our moments, but ultimately that was the genius behind why Irish rugby is now so strong. And you add into that the school system, the academy systems, they were all in place before Nucifora arrived. I don't know, did he didn't appoint Joe Schmidt either, did he, as Irish coach? So he also inherited one of the best coaches in the world who's developed the Irish national team. So when you add in all the things he didn't have control over that he inherited, you would maybe ask, surely a performance director ought to be doing pretty well in the situation he inherited. And I think there's multiple CEOs around the country who run good businesses based on performance and make them better. And there are many who could do a similar, if not better, job, whether they have a rugby background or not.